Mad Max. Beyond Thunderdome. Yes, that's where that meme comes from. Starring Tina Turner. In case you couldn't tell, the film literally begins with one of her songs, One of the Living. Feels a little weird to have licensed music when the other two had more generic ambient sounds. 15 years after the last film, we open on typical Australian Mars-looking terrain. A caravan driver gets rammed by a plane, being drove by Jebediah and his son. Jeb looks a little familiar. They steal the caravan from Mad Max of Arabia over here. But luckily for Max, he comes across a town. Barter Town, to be specific, full of crazy-looking people and crazy good prices.
Don't you understand? This is water. You can't live without it. What's a little fallout?
So Max tries to gain information, but the collector says no trade, no talk. So he fights off some guards, but this gives them an opportunity to speak with a leader, after he realizes they have his camels. Their leader is Auntie Tina Turner, who is not actually Australian. For those who don't really understand what's going on, this is basically the equivalent of if Billie Eilish was in a Mad Max movie. Auntie also has a sax slave. Max has to fight a couple other extras wearing costumes from the last film, and he proves himself. They want this outsider to take out someone for them, in a fair fight. But when we're also here, we get some exposition, like the entire town runs on pig.
The motors, the vehicles, all run by a high-powered gas called methane. Methane comes from pig shit.
Yeah, but so is the shit of every animal on Earth, including human. But we have the target, Master Blaster. Master's this little guy riding Blaster, the big guy. That's where that meme comes from. So Max takes a job at the turd mines to learn more about Master Blaster. Down there he also meets Pig Killer, and they found Max's car, somehow not exploded, but still booby-trapped. He agrees to disarm it, tries passing a charisma check to get something out of it, but fails. But he does learn that Blaster hates loud noises, so he goes back to Tina and accepts the quest, which takes him to the Thunderdome. He grabs a whistle and says he wants Master Blaster's rig, and Master says he wants the town, so they're going to fight it out playground style, in a giant dome with people hanging off it, 2 people inside fighting for something stupid.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
It seems cool and all, something people did all the time on the playground, until they're strapped into bungee wires and start bouncing around like Circus Olay, slapping each other like idiots. Lame. But the audience provides weapons, haha! The bungee cords are a little too silly, but I do think this is a fun fight with unique choreography. But Max gets the upper hand when he gets the whistle back and starts beating Blaster, until he knocks his helmet off and it turns out, oh, you can't kill a special guy? Dude, come on. So Max refuses, and that whole kill him of an outsider so you don't get connected to killing Master Blaster is thrown completely out the window as Tina cheats and just has him shot, and then jumps into the stadium and screams that Max is the criminal here. He broke a deal, so now he has to face the wheel. A literal wheel of punishment. And he gets gulag. But I guess the forced labor camp is full, so second option, he's getting strapped to a horse backwards, Dudley Do-Right style, with a big silly mask put on him. But lucky for Max, a monkey brings him some water. But he's still in Australia, so he's not doing too good. And from here, we're now watching a completely different movie. Well, sort of. It's not as bad as something like Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny. Max does appear in the rest of the film. It's just the rest of the movie was based off a script that was completely unrelated to Mad Max, and they decided to force him in. So this lady, Savannah, picks Max up in the oddly yellow deserts, despite being Australia, which is famous for orange Mars-like deserts. The tribe lives in an oasis. They are known as the Waiting Ones. They think Max is their Captain Walker, so they trim his hair to be more classic Mad Max and revive him with some shenanigans. And eventually he gets the tribe to tell them what their story is, with a big TV stick explaining during the apocalypse they were on a plane, which crashed. The adults left to look for help and never came back, and they think Max is their messiah, the Captain Walker. Max is like, no. The tribe shows him the plane and wants him to take them to Tomorrowland. And Max is like, fuck this. But Savannah's going if Max is coming or not. So Max gives her some Mel Gibson diplomacy, so she stays. But the next day some kids got loose and now Max has to save them. Later at night he gets the idea to go to Bartertown and sneak in. Save Master from getting eaten by pigs, get a ride, and head out, which is a lot easier said than done. And they find a train, just down there, mostly for display, but it still works, and we finally get our Mad Max chase. And it's a little obvious that this film is PG-13 rather than R, because a lot more people are falling off of their cars rather than getting shot. And this film has a singular fuck in it. There's even slapstick, like someone getting hit in the face with a frying pan and someone hanging off of a pipe for one of the kids to be sawing the pipe. And eventually ends with them getting held up by an 8-year-old, and they chase him into an underground bunker where they meet the pilot from earlier. I joked he looked familiar earlier because he's the same actor as the gyrocopter pilot from the last film. Him and Max don't really seem to recognize each other, but there's not really any reason they couldn't be the same character, especially because they're both pilots. So they get on the plane, dump a bunch of the pilot stuff off, but there's not enough runway, as they're still getting chased by Bartertown, and they don't feel confident enough to go off the cliff and be an action movie about it. So Max decides to drive in front of the plane, which doesn't mess with the plane at all as he plays chicken with Bartertown, and he actually crashes into the Bartertown guy. I guess they did have enough runway. Sorry, Max. Max is held up, but Tina decides to just leave him out. Just leave him. I mean, I guess it's the desert, but it's still like, why? The pilot, the kids, Master, and all the other characters made it to the ruins of Sydney and established a community there. Beyond Thunderdome is considered the worst of the franchise. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of the people say it is, but the PG-13 definitely hurts the film with a more sillier tone than the other films, which definitely hurts it. What little we get with the vehicles is still cool, and I love seeing apocalypse civilizations like Bartertown or even the Tribe. But the obvious nature of the film being two different scripts forced together is super obvious. And them trying to connect is a little weird. It kind of has like Team America World Police problem, where like the first half of the film has everything people know about it, like, you know, the Thunderdome and Master Blaster and all that crap. But then the rest of the film is something else, and no one talks about it as much. It can definitely be entertaining, but it also feels a little like the Hollywood Mad Max film, even though it kind of isn't. Even though this is the first film to have American funding. It can be a little too wacky at points, but if you're really into Mad Max and post-apocalyptic settings, I'll give this a 6 out of 10. Maybe 6.5. Make sure to like this video, share with your friends, comment your own thoughts and opinions about Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and subscribe if you're new.